Hi there, Leo. How are you? What's up? What's up? What's up? How's November been treating you guys? So, let's just jump right into it. I'm really sorry that I didn't get to do your November readings. You know, I was so preoccupied with my daughter and my personal readings. I needed to take like 2 weeks off completely so that I could, you know, put everything checked on my checklist. But I'm back, so I think rather than me going with November readings, I'm just going to do the end of November from the 24th until the 30th of November, so that next week I could go ahead and upload your December readings, all right, if you don't mind. Okay, so let's see what you have for your energy for the now. Leo. By the way, for those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Inessa from the Inner Stereo, and for those of you who have been here a long time, welcome back. Welcome back. You have the Emperor card in reverse in here as your overall energy. Let's pull 2 more cards. Don't forget to check your Sun, Moon, or Venus sign though, because I tend to realize that with my readings, I resonate much more with my Venus sign rather than my Sun sign. Okay. You have the Princess of Swords in here, so I feel like right now you guys are having like really major trust issues. I usually pulled 3 cards for energy, but I feel like all these 5 cards is popping out. Leo is feeling really talkative, and then now let's just talk, right? There has been things that has been bugging you on the inside. You have the Nine of Swords, makes you kind of like feel anxious about it, kind of makes you feel overthinking about it. And the reason for that being is you're starting to notice a pattern in your relationship, that your relationship doesn't provide you with the collective happiness that you need, doesn't provide you with that emotional stability that you need. Like you were trying so hard to overextend yourself because you do have the tendency to please people you love, right? You have the tendency to serve people. That's just what Leo do. And when you do that and you know that it's not reciprocated good enough and they are much more of a user or a taker rather than a mutual, you know, giver, you're starting to question things like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I dealing with a lot of thoughts in my head? Why is it every time I'm alone at night I get to worry about things? Why is it that I feel so alone in public settings? Why is it that when I am being surrounded with friends and people who love me, I'm still being alone because I'm so worried about things, right? So right now you guys are being super duper cerebral. It's like a combination of you guys being super duper fired up with the Emperor card in reverse because you're so angry, and you guys are just kind of like so impatient because you just want to prove something. Like you're fed up with the situations right now. You're fed up with this current situations. It's too much draining for you. It just watered down your fire for some reasons, right? And now with the Princess of Swords, I feel like right now you guys are kind of like obsessed or focusing on answers. Like you're trying to look for answers. It could be through astrology, it could be through psychic, or you could be doing like a little bit of a CIA research in the back because you're trying to prove something. Something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't sit well with you. And I feel like once you get that information that you needed, you're so ready to charge. You're super duper ready to charge. Let's see your challenges. Look at the challenges. And it might make sense because, you know, Jupiter just moved into Sagittarius in November 8th. And I kind of like felt that shift of energy as well. Being a Sagittarius, a fellow fire sign. The need for me to feel okay by myself. The need of me to, it's like it's putting a zoom in focus on people who are just draining for you, who just brings you nothing but negative vibe. Like you're trying to be optimistic, you're trying to build something with them and stuff like that, but I feel like you just can't. You have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse in here as your overall challenge. So somebody has a codependency tendencies here in this relationship, or somebody, again as I said, because they're so used to taking from you that they can't. Like they can't, like you need to encourage them or you need to train them to try to meet you halfway rather than you going 75% way of them. Like they're only going to give you 25%, right? You're overextending way too much, Leo. You have the Two of Wands in here as your overall challenge. You want to work things out. You want to work together hand in hand in order to make this relationship work from scratch to growing into a beautiful tree. You want to guarantee the sustainability of this relationship, but I feel like it's still very hard for you to do so. Again, as I said, because you're dealing with someone who takes. You give, they take. You give, they take. And I feel like what you give them kind of like supplies their insecurities that they have. Because the Nine of Pentacles in reverse is somebody who really, really knows what's their weakness point. And they're kind of like quite insecure about it. Okay, but somehow your attention, what you supply to them, makes them feel good about themselves. And you also have the Queen of Pentacles in here as your overall challenge. For some of Leos out there, you could be dealing with somebody who has like a little bit of a materialistic tendencies or a tendency to use. The Queen of Pentacles also talks about, because, and it only happens in this particular deck of mine. I only get this vibe from this particular deck of mine. It's like somebody who shows so much. And I'm not saying who shows so much how good they are. Who shows so much how of a good boyfriend, husband they are. You know what I mean? Like, look, this is what I have, Leo. I feel like you're going to be interested. I know that you guys are interested in this, you know, stuff like that. So they were trying to portray themselves as a good wifey or husband material to you. They're trying to portray themselves as a good long-term commitment material towards you. Be aware of those type of people, alright? Sun card here. But in the past, this person's emotional intensity is very, very strong to you. You know what I mean? Their emotional intensity is very, very strong, and they're very, very certain about it. Although they have the Princess of Pentacles, so it's like somebody who is kind of like quite being calculative about things. Like they calculate, like, okay, I give this much, how much am I gonna get from Leo? But you love them. Like, this person also loves you. There's no denying in that. Okay. All right. Let's talk if you're dealing with one person first, and then I'm going to talk if you're dealing with two people, all right? So if you're dealing with one person, there is no denying that this person loves you and you love them as well. But you're starting to realize the toxic or the unhealthy habit or unhealthy pattern that this relationship contains, and you're trying to make amends towards it. So you're detaching yourself away from the situations and try to be Switzerland, neutral, like not black and white, not being too much loving or not too much hating. Like, you're trying to be neutral. You're trying to protect your feelings here. But you're kind of like quite crazy over them as much as they're crazy over you. But the thing is that you're starting to notice how calculative they are, how every move that they make towards you is kind of like quite calculated. So you're kind of like backing away just a little bit. But there's something about them that makes you crazy. It's either the way they talk, either the way they touch you, either the way they kiss you, either the way they... what's the polite word for that? Sex you? I'm such an Asian. Yeah, like there's something about them that makes you addicted somehow. If you're only dealing with one person, though, I feel like you're still having this immense addiction towards somebody who is very, very calculative. And again, the addiction is the same as the first person that, you know, when I was talking about the first person scenario, there's just something about them that make you feel super duper addicted towards them. Up to the point where you feel like, I don't feel like I could get this much intense connection again in the future with somebody else. Okay, because you're just so addicted towards them in that matter. And then you have somebody else who is a person A. Person A came into your life being super duper, having this emotional intensity towards you, but they're not the type of person who is like the Queen of Pentacles, like a person B. You know, somebody who is showing like, look how stable I am. They're not trying to portray themselves as being that way. They're much more real about themselves. And I feel like because you're still intoxicated with your addictions towards person B, I feel like with them, you're trying to be Switzerland, or you're trying to be neutral. You're trying not to get too much in the feels about it. Nope. And I feel like the reason why, if you're dealing with two people, the reason why you cannot get intoxicated as you are with your person B to them is because they're different in nature. Person B, person who you have like a very, very unhealthy kind of addiction towards too, is very, very hands-on. They know what they're doing. That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas this person is kind of like cold and detached. They're kind of like, yeah, like different. You know what I mean? But it's just funny to me because, you know, in the past, seeing all these major arcana, and for me, major arcana means divine intervention or universe intervention or God's intervention, like the universe or God was kind of like giving you somebody who's trying to shine a light and make you realize about this toxic pattern that you have towards someone, that healthy intoxications that you have towards someone. But I feel like I'm going to probably cut this video into 2 parts because my memory is running thin. I need to talk more a little. Got me like, oh, 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 yeah. I mean, like, even in the now, you know, the thing that the person B promised you, they're not even delivering it. There is a delay or a postpone. They're being the Princess of Chalices in reverse. The Princess of Chalices in upright position is bad enough because it's like a serial charmer or a flirtatious type of person. When it comes in reverse, they don't even have a plan to kind of like fulfill that words that they're saying to you. The promises they utter to you, they promise that they're going to change and everything like that. No, because right beside it, they have the 2 of Pentacles. So they're actually doesn't want to deal with drama. They don't want to deal with emotional outbursts and stuff like that. So I feel, I don't know why, but I kind of like feel like they kind of like want to buy time just a little bit with you. And you're trying to depend, or you're trying to kind of like harbor or anchor towards the person A, but I feel like because this person A has a little bit of a different with person B, it drives you nuts. You're exercising tons and immense amount of patience with person B though. Somebody who blatantly doesn't have any intention to deliver their promises. This is how you feel right now. You're strength guard. You're exercising like a lot of your patience right now. You probably would stop thinking about it, and then because it hurts you so bad, but deep down inside of you, you're still blindly optimistic about it. You're so focused on that devil card. I'm not saying a devil person, but you're so focused on this unhealthy thing. I'm going to have to clarify, all right? That's what I'm here for. You're so focused on that. You're so focused on that up to the point that even this person, this new person, is not actually like you just want to have something lighthearted and carefree with this person without talking much about responsibilities and such, because this person B, is driving you nuts. They're just driving you nuts. If you're only dealing with one person, this person does have the idea at the back of their head about what is it that they needed to do in order to make this relationship work. But I feel like they're not willing to fulfill it in the now. That's because they just buying their time with the 2 of Pentacles. They just want to figure you out. They just want to understand you better. They're trying to figure things out in the now. In 1.5 minutes. Let's see, lihat kartu masa depan. But if you're dealing with two people, though, this person is still very, very much detached. They're the type of person who you need to encourage them, you know, to kind of like meet you physically more often, because I feel like they're so busy building an image of you inside of their head that I'm starting to feel that they are in love with whoever they're created inside of their head instead of you. Like, you need to encourage them, and you need to also tell them that you're an actual human being, that you need to be touched, you need to be physically being met. Okay, in the future everything is going to go okay though. Super. So I'm going to cut it off because it's going to cut off by itself anyway. Okay, so we're back again. So you have the Princess of Chalices, you have the Four of Chalices, Emperor card in reverse, Two of Chalices, King of Chalices, and then at the bottom of your deck you have the Four of Wands. So everything is going to go okay in the future, though, although you don't feel like it in the now. So this person A, who is kind of like cold and attached, who you're trying to, you know, lay upon, but they kind of like felt super duper cold towards you. They're going to get themselves hit in the field. So they are going to be emotionally much more vulnerable towards you. But the thing is that with this person, once they're emotionally vulnerable, they have a tendency to become the Princess of Chalices. Meaning that with the Princess of Chalices, it's a very, very Neptunian card. Again, as I said, somebody who creates an image of you inside of their head. Somebody who likes to build a fantasy of you inside of their head. It's like, if you ever imagine you having a crush back in high school or elementary school, and you're building a lot of things inside of your head, right? With that feeling comes greater sensitivity. So you need to be kind of like quite careful with the words that you utter to them or your actions, because they're super duper sensitive and they know this about themselves. That's why they were trying to build like a lot of walls for them as a mean of protections, because they don't want to get hurt. And once they open up to you in the future, this person is super duper sensitive. Like this sensitive, okay? That if you hurt them a bit, they're just going to sulk. They're just going to sulk. So this is the type of person that, although they've been in a relationship, but I feel like they haven't been in a relationship where a communication aspect of the relationship is good, you know, is striving. So this is like both of you needed to teach each other's lessons. Okay, so there's a type of person who they sulk when they get mad. Like they have the inability to express what bothers them a lot. Okay? And I feel like if you're dealing with two people, you're going to give a chance towards the person A, somebody who you don't have that intoxicated addictions with, because you're going to feel much more stable with yourself. You have the Emperor card in reverse in here. The Emperor card in my other decks, which is the theinnerstereo, is being symbolized by the War card, because the Emperor likes to protect themselves. And I feel like in the future, you guys are going to be pushed up to the point where you feel like you need to protect yourself, because if you don't, you're going to lose yourself, right? So there's going to be like a lot of a shift of energy that is going to make you feel super duper like an angry lion. You know, that you're very, very protective of your pride. You're very, very protective of yourself. There's going to be a moment where you feel that way. And you're going to give this person who is much more deserving of your love, if you're dealing with two people, a chance. Because you have the Two of Cups. So you're going to feel super duper in love with them. There's going to be an initial honeymoon phase that's going to be much more bigger. And you kind of like start to realize that, oh, okay, so this is what a healthy relationship looks like. Okay, and the past person who is wishy-washy, who is calculated, who is not delivering any of their promises, they have the Four of Cups. So do they have regrets? Yes, they do. But I feel like they're just going to kind of like wait for the rain to pass, because they still have this blind optimism that you are going to come back anyway. Because it has been like a repeating pattern of your life. Like, no matter how ugly things has been in the past, like, you always make up. So they're just waiting for that make-up time. But I feel like if you're dealing with two people, it's not something that you're looking forward to. If you're only dealing with one person, though, this person, is going to be much more emotionally open towards you. This person is no longer being calculated towards you. But again, as I said, regardless of how old they are, they might be 70, they might be 50, they might be 20, 30, or whatever, might be older than you, younger than you, whatever, but this person is still a high schooler when it comes to relationship. And it's somebody that you need to teach them how healthy relationship works, how healthy communication works. Again, as I said, because they are super duper sensitive and they know this about themselves, when they get hurt, they sulk. And that sulking matter, it's a cry of attention. Because they're trying to regain control back. Right? But I feel like you guys are going to see right through, and I feel like with the King of Cups in here, you're going to have the ability, because you're much more mature than they are emotionally. You guys are the King of Chalices, this person is the Princess of Chalices. You guys are much more mature with them emotionally, so I feel like you will have the ability to teach them how healthy relationship works. How to not have the sulking games, how to not be calculated, how relationships should be about two people not being calculated with one another. Like, if you want to give, just fucking give. You don't need to think about what the other person have done to you or what the other person will do to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, you guys are much more emotionally mature, so you guys are going to kind of like be teaching them lessons. But I sense that there's going to be like a renewal happening, a honeymoon phase happening again, and it's going to lead to something stable with the Four of Wands in here. But you have a homework if you're only dealing with one person, because this person needs to be taught like a lot of lessons. All right, like you need to fish a lot of resentment out of their mouth. What is it that you want? Like, you need to kind of like fishing them out. Okay, so I talk too much. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week for your December readings. I hope you have a great week ahead. Leo, bye-bye.